podcast. I'm Spencer Martin, author of the Beyond the Peloton newsletter. I'm here with Andrew Vontz from the Choose the Hard Way podcast and Always the Hard Way newsletter. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but do you want to quickly plug anything before we get going into our deep dive of kilometers 124 to 120 at the Tour de France, stage 15 yesterday? Or do you just want to get right into it? What do you want to do?
If you want to draft off of a car and win the stage, you need to check out the latest episode of Choose the Hard Way. We answer all the questions that you have about how Big Spence and Andrew are staying fit in the time that they have. That's right. We've got a mini-sode. It's Spence and Andrew going deep on how we train. Check it out. The Choose the Hard Way podcast feed everywhere you listen. Also on YouTube. I'm sorry to use a Bill and Ted uplilt there. And as Spencer indicated, you can also find me on Substack. I'm sure you're a reader of the Beyond the Peloton newsletter. Watch for me there in the suggestions. And you can also go to alwaysthehardway.substack.com to make your life incredibly better.
Well, on the moto, and so Tim Wellens they're definitely getting a draft, but if that was a magic bullet for winning, as Tim Wellens said today, why didn't Quinn Simmons attack first and get in that moto slipstream, Andrew?
The winning strategy is the correct strategy. The big question is, had Quinn taken the win yesterday, do you think he would have gotten up on his high horse and talked about how he had won because he had timed his attack correctly to get the draft off of the motorcycle? A question that's come up, Spence, in some of the elite circles where I'm operating day to day discussing cycling is Quinn Simmons. Is he like a heel in professional wrestling? Is this guy like the Ric Flair of pro cycling? And is he doing something provocative that's actually interesting? You know, on its face, his argument is, it's not even an argument. I think he's stating something that's factually correct. Like, yeah, this does happen. And the solution is you make sure you're the person.
Yeah. It's like there's one solution.
And you get the draft, man. Yeah.
It's to get to the moto and ride away from everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the other second order thing not being discussed here, entering the 2025 season, Spence, as you know, World Tour cyclists, USAC cyclists, our good friend Kip recently taking 8th place in the Foco Fondo gravel race.
Shout out Kip.
Yeah. Kip's corner. Kip looking strong.
What's funny is he is like, I was like having a hard time holding the pace. And I was like, that's weird. That's not like Kip. And I looked at the results and it's like the country's best professional gravel racers. It's like, there's probably a reason why that pace was a little hot.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about Wellens and Quinn. The edge that I'm talking about here that's no longer present in 2025, Joe versus the volcano, carbon monoxide. You get close enough to that motorcycle, you're getting a direct hit. Boom. Just put your mouth on the tailpipe.
Rebreathing right there.
Yeah.
The EPO is generating inside of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if like people are confused, like why is there a moto pacing people to wins multiple times at this Tour de France? It's because I want to watch the race on television, and they have a man or woman with the camera holding the camera and pointing it at the riders, and they are on the back of a motorcycle. But it's actually quite at the Tour, it's more pronounced than normal because there's so many people on the roads. Like if there's a lot of people on the roads, that they can only go so fast. So a lot of times the riders do get quite close to the camera. And then there's like this whole caravan in front of the moto that it can't go past. So it's somewhat constricted about where it can be. Mike Woods had a suggestion of getting rid of the motos. Maybe that could be possible like in the future, but we've seen that drone footage, Andrew, that we're not ready to hand it over to the drones full time. I don't think the quality's there.
Yeah. The next thing that happens is a drone doesn't run out of gas. It runs out of electricity, and then it falls on a rider. And these commercial drones are quite large, Spence. We don't have the Dragonfly and Mosquito drones being used in China yet at the Tour de France. So once we have those, perhaps we could deploy them and get that nice 4K stream. It's actually, that's being used in some of the gravel and criterium footage that I'm seeing pop up from just very random criteriums around the country. The days of the USAC VHS fixed tripod seem to be long gone.
Nearing the end. Yeah, where you want to actually see the whole course. But yeah, Quinn Simmons is a heel. He is such an interesting personality. A friend of mine was at the tour. Quinn Simmons jumps out of the team bus, has to go meet this guy. It's Johan Bernil. Is a big Johan Bernil fan. So like, I guess now I'm compromised. We're biased, but he is like he's almost seems like a character, or he's playing like an ultra American character. And like, have you noticed the race radios will be like Captain America and the breakaway? Like that's what the other teams are calling him, because he's like that distinctive looking, and his personality is sticking out to people.
Yeah, he has the look. I may have discussed this illustrious period of my career when my editor at Rolling Stone went to WWE and ran the WWE magazine, and I ended up writing about some of the most famous and popular personalities in professional wrestling, ranging from Stone Cold Steve Austin to Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter. I did them all. I didn't do The Rock. I will tell you, though, Ric Flair, probably one of the most famous heels in the history of professional wrestling. He's a super nice guy. And with Quinn, I think one of the questions people have, he's been this mystery figure since the controversy in 2020 and his time out from the team. We haven't heard a lot from him the last couple of years, and now we're starting to hear a bit more from him. And he's a very articulate person. And I think that people don't want to hear excuses when people don't lose. And I don't think that that makes for a good heel, unless you go really over the top. He's not top roping this. He's not doing something that's demonstrably off the wall, like Julian TBI Alaphilippe with his big salute in third place yesterday.
Dude,
there was,
I thought at first,
like the third time the guy's done that, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. In addition to sitting up too early, which is one of his trademarks, losing major races, I thought he was celebrating third place. And I was like, I lost my cool in the studio. I'm kind of embarrassed in retrospect. Like, how,
Yeah.
it's like, what the fuck are we doing now? We're celebrating third? What participation trophy culture is taking over? But no, he indeed. But what did he think Victor Campenaerts was? I guess that's my question, because he was 1 or 2 seconds off the front of that group. And he finished right before them. Doesn't stop Alaphilippe from posting up, thinking he won. Actually, so to go back to the Quinn Simmons thing. Well, the problem, Quinn, is it's not that there's motos, whatever. It's that do you see Tim Wellens? He gets in the breakaway. I guess, like, I was asking the guys about this on set. Like, I guess if your teammates in the race lead, you get to marshal the break and you don't have to pull through. So like Wout and Victor Campenaerts are like, hey man, can you pull through? And he's like, nope. So he sat on all day, does not take a pull. And then, of course, when he gets to the tippy top of this never-ending drag, he's going to have a pretty strong little attack on him. But yeah, I'm surprised no one identified that as a problem before then. Maybe don't just pull Tim Wellens, one of the strongest riders in the sport, around all day.
I believe that Quinn Simmons' comment about that move was that it was a Cat 5 move. I believe this is actually a Tour de France stage-winning move.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it. I believe it's called smart racing. And the moment the attack was launched, like many attacks we've seen that are successful, if I'm recalling this correctly, there have been some internet outages due to some Minecraft addiction-related issues in my home recently, Spencer. So I saw the finish, but the finish that I saw, if I'm recalling this correctly, when the separation occurred, Wellens near the back, the road's starting to narrow, and he tail guns it from the back, goes up the left side, drills it, creates immediate separation. I don't know, maybe the moto had to slow down at that moment because the road was hitting a choke point. Seemed like pretty standard. This is a very smart move to create separation.
Very steep. Race. Like 11% for 3K, and he's smart enough not to attack there. Pretty impressive, actually. And then, it's like 2 to 3%, but the climb never really ends. Like, perfect place to attack because your speed's so high, and you get that separation. I will say, Lance Armstrong was not impressed with the Cat 5 comment from Quinn Simmons. Thought that your thinking was correct. That, no, Quinn, that actually sounds like the strategy of someone who wins major races. Do you think that Americans, it's a problem for them that they're so good. Like Quinn Simmons has probably never done that before or never had to get crafty because you're just so good relative to your peers. You win everything and you have this like honorable way to win in your mind versus people like from Belgium and you grow up basically in a cage match every week and you have to like develop these skills to win races.
Spencer, you just answered your own question.
Okay.
We know the answer to the question here, right?
But I've never seen it like displayed so clearly, where it's like, wow, like Quinn doesn't even know that you're supposed to sit on if they will let you and then attack and win, which has now given Tim Wellens Grand Tour wins in all 3 Grand Tours, stage wins in all 3 Grand Tours. Pretty impressive.
You also have to think a guy riding on Pog's team who's at the Tour de France is probably a pretty good cyclist.
Pretty good, yeah. If he's made that selection of like the top riders on the team that has all the best riders, he's probably pretty good. Oh, and then, what jersey are you wearing? Belgian national champs? Who else is from Belgium? Oh, Remco Evenepoel, you soloed away from him to win just a mere few weeks ago. Yeah, you'd think you'd be connecting those dots, but did you see the beginning of that stage? One of the more interesting things I've seen at this Tour de France.
Yeah, and before we go back to the beginning, I think we also have to discuss how much confidence Pog must have at this point that he's going to win the GC. Even with Joao Almeida out of the race, we have Wellens in the break, and then drills it, is off the front for what? How long was he off the front? 50K?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. Come on, Quinn. You were going to... Quinn does seem like the kind of rider actually that is potentially capable of putting in that level of effort. But let's give Wellens a little bit of credit. The guy was off the front
Cat
for
5
50K.
Move.
This
put
Cat
2
5
minutes into the group.
Yeah, you're not getting away with 2 laps to go at Dominguez Hills CBR. All respect to Dominguez Hills CBR. Really the ultimate cycling event in the entire universe, in my view.
And apparently Pogačar does not like, I heard he does not like teammates to go in the breakaway. He rarely do other guys on UAE win stages of the Tour, if you've noticed that. Yeah, so for him to want Wellens to go and win because he has a new girlfriend is like, shows he's very confident about winning this race.
Very confident, yes.
Well, he has taken time every time time has been taken. So I guess the confidence is backed up. But another reason he might feel confident is that Visma seems to have forgotten Jonas Vingegaard exists because the stage starts, Pog's at the front, like really paying attention because they're going, I don't know, I think they average like 34 miles an hour for that first hour of racing. Might be faster than Dominguez Hills, maybe. I got a lot of heat for suggesting as such on the show, but he's at the front. There's a crash. Jonas is caught behind. Every other GC contenders caught behind. It's probably fine, right? Because like what, Tadej's not gonna get in the breakaway and ride all the way to the finish. But he's up at the front now, which is like turning into the breakaway, and he's telling the Visma riders like, "Hey, your guy crashed. Let's wait up for him." Like as he's saying this, Wout comes by him like so fast. It's like, "Yeah, not interested." And like they have 3 guys, Mathieu Jorgensen, Victor Campenaerts, and Wout van Aert, all trying to get in the breakaway as this is happening. Tadej's begging them to slow down. They won't slow down. And so he just parks himself on Matteo's wheel. The thinking being like, well, I can't get in trouble. If I'm just following this guy's teammate, then I can't get in trouble for riding away from him. Eventually he'll come back to us. He like bridges solo, which that's a big effort. You think maybe drop Mathieu back to help him there, but they're not that concerned. And then he gets a flat mid-stage, gets on a new bike, nobody with him to pull him back to the group. It's like, what's going on here at Visma? It's like very strange, actually.
It is very strange. It's almost like maybe there's something going on inside the team that we're not privy to. Maybe there's been a little bit of a shift. We go back to the beginning of the tour.
Yeah.
The statements from Jonas's wife. There might be a little bit of heat. Where there's heat,
she specifically was citing
friction. Yeah.
the focus on stage wins. So it's like, is this a reaction to that, or like, are you guys proving her correct? Like,
not just a focus on stage wins. Let's put everyone possible driving the break away from our rider who's down and then has a flat. And I don't know. Maybe Jonas has said, hey, I don't think I have the legs to win. You would think, though, that it's still just put somebody back there.
Yeah, he's bridging by himself. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Even if it was the case that he's given up and maybe he's going to go for a stage later, he wants his teammates to ride. I think you want to have at least one person there.
Yeah.
Just a loyal lieutenant, somebody to kind of chaperone him around. Let's do something to preserve him for later in the race. It's bizarre.
And people were saying, like, oh, Tadej should drop back. It's like, Tadej's just following the team of the guy that's in trouble. Like, they should drop back. Like, Tadej's not going to drop back and pace Jonas back to his own teammates as they ride away from them. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And Andrew, why does Tadej Pogačar hate Mathieu Jorgensen? Do you have any thoughts on this?
It's a good question. I think
to give context to people, Mathieu could have gone in the breakaway, but all day Pogacar's parked on his rear wheel. So anytime he moves, he just follows him. And then, of course, they're not going to let the yellow jersey go. So he can't get in the move with Pogačar with him. He's 32 minutes down. Not a threat on GC, you'd imagine, but he did block Tadej from that bottle, I guess, a few days ago. I'm not quite sure if this is payback for that or what's going on.
I think it's payback for that. And my feeling is that Mathieu is the ascendant GC contender on Visma, and Pog is just pre-dominating him for the future.
I think
they might actually be going head-to-head.
Yeah, because people think of him, he's like, oh, he's a nice, fuzzy dude. He's a little kid. It's like, this guy's a killer. Like, I think you're right that he's just like, I'm going to dominate I'm mentally going to crush him before he's even my rival.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the kind of competitor he is. And we have to remember, Mathieu is a talented rider. He will ride for the GC at the Tour in his career. He'll be a serious contender, I think, within the next year or two. He may be leading Visma next year, and he is yet to drop a rap video. So we can't take him too seriously yet.
True. I mean, here's the thing is, Jonas is 29. That's not that old. Like, how many years did they keep doing this? Like, the whole team's around Jonas. Apparently not. Apparently they're pivoting right before our eyes. But it's like, he goes to the Tour as our GC contender. It's like, at some point, maybe you pivot to the Giro. They won the Giro, so they didn't need him there, obviously, this year. But like, is Jonas happy just like coming out of hibernation once a year to finish second at the Dauphiné, second at the Tour, go back into hibernation?
Yeah, they unfreeze him from carbonite at Jabba's lair. They get him out. They have the dancers. They bring him to the Tour. And then it's some bounty hunter shows up on a plane. He's gone.
And then I don't know. But here, I'll levy this question to you. At some point, Tadej Pogačar is going to win this Tour, by the way, unless something crazy, unless a bear attacks him in the Alps. But he will have won 4 Tours by a younger age than when Lance Armstrong won his first Tour.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, he's probably not going to win an additional 7. That would be a little much, but he's close. Like, he's going to win tomorrow on Ventoux. He's going to close closer to Cavendish's all-time stage win record. Like, we're seeing something we've never seen before, but he will lose a Tour de France at some point. Who do you think beats him at that Tour de France?
He defeats himself.
Like, retires? Or
yes. Yeah. What I'm seeing in this race, and this is perhaps, maybe we'll do a minisode over on Choose the Hard Way about this. I'm not sure how deep we want to go on it here. But my feeling is there's a wariness about Pog in this Tour that I haven't picked up at any other time in his career. He seems exhausted to me, and granted, we're entering the final stanzas of a 3-week Grand Tour, so it's natural that he would be fatigued. Something different is going on, though, and I was reflecting on my social media experience this week, following up on my take last week that perhaps we should get rid of time trials, which that's an opinion I have. And if people want to disagree with it, that's fine. I was thinking about social media as a communication vector is like a drone, and AI is the bomb. And I think what happens in cycling is people just don't have a lot of they don't have much theory of mind. They're not open to considering newer, different ways of thinking in general, I don't think. And in addition to that, cycling has this tendency to just destroy anyone who becomes the best at it. And we see this in all sports, right? Like if you're the best,
not really though. I was just thinking about this. Like think about tennis. Like Yannick's, like these guys, like this same person wins every tennis match. And then it's like, this is greatness. We're so lucky to be in. He tests positive for steroids. And it's like, it's fine. He didn't mean to do it. It's like that would not happen in cycling. I don't. Cycling loves to tear down the person that wins. I think.
Yeah, it does love to tear down the person who wins. And as we saw with the victory the other day of the Ineos rider, Thymen Ahrensman, there were questions about doping, and I don't know if it got into the jiffy bag or what. I didn't follow the specifics. Totally fair for reporters to ask those questions. As you pointed out, Ahrensman was what? He was like 12 when this happened?
Yeah, when the events that they were asking about happened. So, yeah, I will say, and even at this, maybe I shouldn't forget I said that, everybody. Just be cool. Be cool. I didn't say that. I'm not going to edit it out. I don't want to do the work doing that. But it's like it's Dave Brailsford's fault because he won't address it. And then it leaves Ahrensman out to dry in his press conference. It's like, that's not really fair to Ahrensman.
Yeah, he's left holding the bag. It's not fair. Also,
the jiffy bag.
It is totally, reporters can ask whatever, and then it's on the rider and it's on their staff to train them to deflect, answer the question in an effective manner, talk about something else. At the same time, reporters get a lot from a status point of view out of just hammering on those questions endlessly. And if you're the person in the press conference who I don't know if it's happened in this tour yet. I'm assuming that at some point we're going to get someone asking Pog questions about like, do you dope, blah, 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 blah. Whoever does that, there's going to be probably a story in The Athletic about it. It'll be all over the internet. People will be outraged. It's a fair question and it's predictable. And you have to question, are the reporters asking these questions because they have a desire to get to the bottom of this? Because as you know, Spencer, the way to do that is not to try to pant someone in a press conference, even if you're, mainlining EPO before you go into the press conference. Who in the history of pro cycling has walked into a press conference at the tour and said, I wasn't going to disclose this, but actually I'm doping? Like, no, you have to go do what Reed Albergati and his co-authors did, and you have to do real reporting. And that's hard to do and time consuming versus the theater of lobbing doping accusations at people who are winning a race in a press conference.
I want someone to answer.
There was a time when I think that was a brave thing and needed to be part of the conversation. Today, I think it's a bit different, and I think it's a bit lazy, and I don't see people digging into this if they have actual interest in reporting on it.
I just want someone to answer, like, it's your job to find out. I'm not going to tell you. But I guess, like, there's no one in the English language media digging into it. But, like, ARD, which is the German national broadcaster, like, dug and found these text messages between the lead Ineos soigneur and this doctor who's in jail for blood doping people. It's, like, pretty impressive journalism work there. We don't need to dig into the details. This will, like, blow up the closer to the end of the tour we get, and we'll have more information on it. I'd assume they're going to fire that guy, and they're going to say he's the problem. And then
no way, not that.
Yeah. Well,
if you were thinking about naming one of your children Aderlas, as I was, you might want to just pump the brakes on that.
Were you really thinking about?
No, of course not. Have you met my children Puerto and Aderlas?
Yeah, my favorite doping scandals. But funny thing I heard about Operation Puerto. I'm still trying to think if I should say that if this is public record, but apparently that guy was like a bit of a coke addict, so he wasn't so buttoned up. And then the blood bags, the freezer went out,
right?
And they all got spoiled. So instead of just telling everyone like, "Hey guys, sorry, I fucked up," he just got other blood from random people, and then gave it to them. They thought it was their own blood, but then they were all testing positive for other people's blood. And remember, like Tyler Hamilton's disappearing twin. Like that was the excuse because they found someone else's blood in his body because his doctor like let the freezer go out. Oops. Maybe don't do that. It's like serious. Like people almost died from it because you can die getting the wrong type of blood in your body. It's not good, not safe. Be careful. Choose your doping doctor wisely, like Yannick Sinner.
That's why we have generators here in Maine. Our blood bags are always kept at optimal temperatures.
Yeah. And it was like a new technique where instead of taking it out at the Dauphiné and then putting it at the Tour, you took it out in the wintertime and then you could freeze it. And then you just have infinite blood bags as you needed them. But there's like, nope, I don't know. The whole thing is like silly. It's like, where's the proof that any of this is happening? I don't know. Like, search some trash bags. Show me that there's synthetic blood in Pogacar's trash, if you want to say that. But I also think there's probably weird stuff going on that we're in an amazing age, Andrew, where people can fly from London to the top of Mount Everest and hike it immediately, and they don't have to acclimate because they have xenon gas treatments. There's just a lot going on out there that you can do that's not maybe doping in the traditional sense, but you wouldn't be totally comfortable if you heard it. That's kind of my guess. But the green jersey classification, I want to talk to you about this. Tired the yellow jersey, wired the green jersey. We don't need a yellow jersey fight. It's done. Who cares? Green jersey, this might be the best green jersey battle of all time because we have Jonathan Milan leading. Second place, Tadej Pogacar. Third place, a lurking Mathieu van der Poel. You might say, well, it's like all mountain stages, one maybe sprint stage, and one Parisian stage. Won't Milan win this or Pogacar? Well, as we've seen, Milan cannot get in breakaways. And when he does, he often gets dropped. And the team, I do not think that team can control the madness of 2 hours of attacking to get him the intermediate sprint points. So what you're going to have is Mathieu van der Poel probably getting in every breakaway from here on in, trying to get the intermediate sprint points. You're going to have Pogacar winning the mountain stages. It could come down to Paris, which now has a climb in it, the Montmartre climb from the Olympics. And it's like 5K from the finish. Like they go over that climb and they descend straight down to the Champs-Élysées to finish. We could have like Pogacar, Van der Poel, Milan attacking like it's a sprint classic on the cobbles of Paris. This is going to be amazing.
Quinn Simmons also being discussed as a contender for this stage. I guess pending what's going on with Milan, who would be the preferred rider, I'm sure. But as you noted, it's been interesting to see Milan just getting absolutely shelled. Maybe could use a little bit more of that svelte Ghana versus that peak power, huh?
Part of the problem is you're seeing the limits of being a 6'6" cyclist because it's like, it's all fine and good when you're going hard for 200 meters, but he's so dang big that he can't get a draft on anyone. Everyone can see him coming. So he launches these attacks and everyone just sits on his wheel. He can't get away. It's hard for him to get in the break. Patrick Bro had a thought that well, that's kind of, you use the teammates to guide them into the move because he's making these big efforts to get in the move. They're just not working. And then he's getting dropped from the peloton because he's so gassed because he can't draft on anyone. Don't be 6'6", folks, unless you want to be like a point guard, one of the smallest players in the NBA and make a bunch of money. That'd be cool too.
That'd be chill.
I mean, it's working out for Milan. He looks cool. Off the bike, he's walking around all tall, but he is like a sail out there. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. The sprint point's 112K into the stage. That's like over 2 hours of racing. Like, is that even possible to control? And then
flying scheduled has to be hell on earth for that guy. 6'6".
6'6". That does start to get like inhibiting your ability to fly, not just scheduled, but commercial. Oof. Or coach. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. But who do you think wins this green jersey other than Quinn Simmons?
I feel like Mathieu van der Poel has not behaved, and he's starting to go for the points, but we're seeing a little bit of that old Van der Poel, I'm out on a training ride vibe, which we discussed on the last episode. And man, he's just like wasted so much energy. It would be hard to imagine him. He's got a taste for it. They've chummed the water, right? He's got a little taste.
I even heard from a source close to him on this rest day of like, yeah, he's not that interested in the green jersey. It's like, dude, he's right there for like one of the most prestigious green jerseys probably we've seen in the modern era. Like maybe he should try to get that, but who knows if that's like misdirection or what.
He's out motor pacing on the day off, doing some VO2 intervals. He's ramping up for the Africa Worlds, I think.
He could actually win because of that. If he wins the green jersey classification, that attack will be a pivotal part because he got the intermediate sprint that day.
Did we talk about the multi-vom on that ride in the last episode?
Yeah, from all the...
Okay. All right.
Cycling's turning into triathlon. You will also be thrilled to know Tour de France Femmes, no time trial.
It's progressive. They're disrupting the norm. Good.
Yeah. It is this idea that like they want to extend the Tour de France Femmes to 3 weeks. It's like, I'm not even sure the men's Tour de France should be 3 weeks. Like, is this really the best way to do a bike race?
Yeah, for people who are watching, Spencer, a question I know they're going to want me to ask. You are undisclosed location. Spencer is in a skiff. He is at high altitude. Cherry red complexion right now. Are you using sun protection? And what was your activity today on the rest day?
It might be this. I've like a lot of weird lights.
You still have a bit of a glow. Yeah.
I've been spending most of my time in a basement. It could just be the extra bags I've dropped today.
Yeah.
Getting that red. I mean, my workout is riding. I see sun at 6 a.m., ride to the studio, pop up at like 11:30, ride back inside for the rest of the day. So it is like, you do start to realize, man, these training camps must not be that fun. Because we're staying like up around 9,000 feet. Like it's like a house on the side of the ski slope. Like nothing going on. And it's just like, imagine like leaving your family and then you're just like going up and down these hills. I mean, the train, you could do a lot of good training here because there's just like 8% climbs for 20 minutes. Just do them over and over again. But man, I have probably more respect for these riders that go on these altitude blocks, especially the ones that have families. They go like 3-4 weeks at a time. Like that would not be so awesome, I'm realizing.
Yeah, and you're in a megalopolis relative to the towns where most of these altitude camps happen. Like there's nothing going on in most of those altitude camps.
Well, hopefully they're further away from the travel baseball scene than I am, because
that's what a bizarre confluence of events. Who would associate that like specific location
8,500 feet? Like, let's get up. I guess someone explained it to me because it's all teams from Texas, and they're like, it's too hot to play baseball in Texas. So
we get a lot of that in Maine as well. I know that Vail and Aspen actually have a big international sub-elite rugby scene. There's a lot of competition there.
Yeah, downtown Aspen is like a big, like the center of the town is a rugby pitch, which must be the only one in the country that is set up like that.
Standard. I mean, I think it was standard. Yeah, should have been in Dumb and Dumber. I don't know why they didn't feature it.
It is actually a nice part of town. Anything else I was going to tell you? I don't know how to say this, but Ineos, we've taken some digs at Ineos. I was pretty impressed with Ineos yesterday. They missed the move. They put the whole team on the front. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Well, you're going to pull back this move. It's like, sorry, guys, we got to reshuffle the deck. We don't have anyone up there. But they get it close enough, and they have two guys bridge up to that move. And then Axel Laurence finishes fifth. Like, in a different world, like Wout van Aert or Axel Laurence, or I guess maybe Julian Alaphilippe wins that stage, because it was actually coming back at the end. But that's, like, not easy to do. I was quite impressed by that.
Yeah, they're balling on a budget.
well, okay. This is our final time. You bring this up. They do have a sizable budget. The thing they don't have are superstars, and like I feel like the market for superstars is only getting tighter because, like Wout van Aert, no longer capable. You can't just sign Wout van Aert and then it's like, okay, we're gonna get a bunch of stage wins. Like that's not a thing anymore. Like the person who wins the monuments, it's Mathieu van der Poel. Or it's Tadej Pogačar. Maybe it's Remco Evenepoel. Think about Grand Tours. Let's just list off the annual salary of every Grand Tour in the last 2 years. It's like $9.7 million a year. Pogačar, he's won half of them. The other one's Primož Roglič. That's like $5 million US a year. And then you have Simon Yates, who's making multiple millions a year. So, like, where do you even start to approach the problem of trying to win these races if you don't have these riders? Which brings me to Red Bull. Bora Hansgrohe allegedly has signed Remco Evenepoel from Soudal Quickstep, who will probably now sell the license, I'd assume. You get the buyout fee for Remco, put that in a little pocket, a little €6 million, sell the license, you're out of the game. I'd assume that's what they're going to do. But he's going to Red Bull, and then I think Lipowitz and Roglic are technically out of contract, but they'll probably extend. Is this a good strategy, Andrew?
No, it's not a good strategy, Spencer. Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the discussion we've been having around if you don't have the ability to win the Tour, what do you do? Because to raise money for your team, you have to say we're going to win the Tour de France, right? And all the Vauders scenes and Unchained, there's a little bit of extra drama, and also it seems like there's a lot of pressure from EF on them having a Tour contender. We know they don't. We know that they don't, right?
It's like the illusion of a Tour contender, but you don't have a Tour contender.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering, is there some other move to be made here? Like, as you and I have discussed privately and all, in our Signal thread with the Secretary of Defense, as well as here on Beyond the Peloton, the little Trek model, some of these other teams that are orienting themselves around a different model and delivering a lot of value. Is that direction Red Bull should go? Or given that Red Bull's Red Bull, they like winners, they like the biggest level of winning, who are they going to get? Do they potentially poach Jonas when he leaves Visma?
I wouldn't do Jonas, but if the problem is UAE puts these buyout clauses on these contracts that are like €100 million. I was just thinking, like, Isaac Del Toro, that guy, have you seen what he's done since the Giro? Like, devastation at the Giro. I actually came out of that Giro thinking, like, this guy is never going to be him. He's not him. He doesn't want it. He basically has won every race he's done since the Giro d'Italia, like just throttling good pros. And you're like, he actually might be pretty good. Like, if I was a team looking for the person that's going to beat Pogacar, I might start poking around that back room at UAE, see if they have any like spare superstars they could give up. Like Joao Almeida, like, what's that future look like? Like, I just don't see how like Almeida, Ayuso, and Del Toro can all be there under Pogacar, and like someone's got to start picking them off. I mean, Florian Lipowitz, that guy's really good, and that's just someone they found.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would have a concern as well, as you said, if he's out of contract this year, that's a rider you definitely want to retain. There's this Roglic question. Being after the Vuelta this year, what do you do with that guy?
Well, he's not technically under contract. I guess it depends what he wants to do. If he wanted to re-sign and be like a domestique, like a super domestique, you'd be happy to have him. But does he want to win? It seems like he didn't even want to come to the Tour. So I guess, if you have a team, I just don't know. If you have Remco, Roglic, and Lipowitz, how do you even split that up? Because Remco, we're being honest, Remco's not going to win the Tour. Like, he just has days where he can't climb or ride a bike. Like, well, that's not great for winning the Tour de France. It's great for like doing other things. There's plenty of other success for him. Like Alejandro Valverde, he'll win everything but the Tour. But like, what are you doing for the Giro, for the Vuelta? Are they splitting leadership there? I don't know. I would actually be quite hesitant to re-sign Primož if I was Red Bull. That just seems like it's not going to get better. Unless he really wants to be a domestique, then that starts to become interesting.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him personally to make a call on this. I really could see it going one of two directions. One is kind of the softcore rom-com vibe of his website, him getting deeper into merch, just being a national treasure, e-commerce. On the other hand, he does have a bit of that Valverde vibe to me. I could just see this guy going until he's dust. I mean, we know he loves to throw himself on the ground. He's not afraid to take some risks. And does he just start focusing on a narrower and narrower subset of races. Does he
maybe, yeah.
Right? Does he like get Spirit of Graveled? Is that even going to exist in the coming years? And
well, apparently you have to be like 250 pounds to be good at gravel. So
yeah,
he might be, if they open a featherweight gravel,
right?
Then he might be in that.
Here's a final question for you, Spence. Given that we know, I mean, man, I'm already getting tired of the Remco's going to this team, that team. We just kind of talked about the rumors. I just feel like you could do a copy paste of every Substack, Cycling News, Cycling Weekly, whatever headline from the last a year ago this day, and you could have the exact same content. The question that I have is, if you're a team who's looking into Remco, I'm not paying whatever Remco was paid in his last contract. No way in hell. I don't think he's as valuable as he was. I don't care that he has 2 gold medals. I don't care that he's a world champion in the time trial. If you're going to be laying out 5-6 million euros, you want someone who has the ability to win Grand Tours predictably, and he just seems like he goes on tilt a bit too easily to me. I'm not sure I would pile that level of Dogecoin into this guy.
Well, I do agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I guess it gets complicated because you're like, if Pogačar breaks his wrist, he could win Liège. So that's a monument. Not clear to me that he's a shoo-in for any other monument. Like maybe Lombardia, if Pogačar's busy, if he's double booked his calendar that day. But the problem with the Remco is like, yeah, what races what exactly is he winning for you? Like he won the Bronze Appeal this year. I know he had the accident, but he didn't win Amstel Gold. He got close. Could he have? I just don't fully know what's going on with him. He said after the Dauphiné, after that time trial, he's never been able to produce like a lot of power. Like, well, that seems problematic. That just for 6 weeks, your body has stopped working for unknown reasons. Like what's going on there? And then he is abandoning, and then he's all mad. The cameras are on him, but it's like, dude, you got third at this race last year. Like, of course they're going to film you. Like, this is notable. So yeah, like the inability to be frustrated. And then it's not clear to me what exactly is he a shoo-in to win. And for that price, you definitely need someone to be a shoo-in to win something.
The guy's reading and responding to his social media.
Yeah. For people that don't know, like stage 1, he refuses an autograph with the kid and then is like responding to people on Instagram about it. And they're like, that's a red flag for me. Like that should not be happening.
Yeah. If this were that famous Pepsi commercial, he's not throwing his jersey to the kid and giving him a bottle of Pepsi. He's doing the opposite.
What I would imagine
to Tomorrowland to rave. Yeah.
Is you get called to Salzburg HQ. You go in, the Red Bull execs are like, we need the best. Who's the best? And you're like, Tadej Pogačar's the best. We can't get him. Okay, who's the best that's not him? They're like, well, this Remco guy's pretty good. And they're like, okay, we need to have him. Like, does this not feel like corporate pressure as a corporate man yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely there's definitely pressure there to get Remco. The thing that's actually on my mind right now that I just wrote down in my notebook that predicts the future that I keep next to my unit here, where in the skiff where I record this podcast, is Pog is going to win Paris-Roubaix next year. And I think part of the shift that we're going to see, will he be back at the Tour next year, barring injury, a wreck? Yeah, I think he'll be back for at least one more year. However, I think he's actually going to focus on the limited number of races that he doesn't have in his Palmares yet. And I think he's going to be very serious about it, much more serious than we saw this year, where, yes, he obviously trained for these races. We know he wants San Remo, probably the hardest of the monuments to win, just tough to crack that nut. He's going to try that again. I think he's going to win it this year. I think he's going to win Paris-Roubaix, and then he'll be at the Tour. The Tour is a question mark, though. And I think, to your point, we take Pog out of the sport. If we're thinking 2-3 years down the line, who is that rider? Like, we take Pog off the board. Who's the winner?
Well, and add 3 years, because Jonas would be the obvious answer to that question now. But add 3 years, maybe that's not so clear. Is it Remco? I don't think it's Remco. I guess that would be my hesitation to sign him.
Is it someone who's 16?
Could be Florian Lipowitz. This guy, it's his second full year as a pro, and he's going to finish third at the Tour de France. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I have one more Ineos comment. I know you need to get back to it, to the other getting back to it, as do I. With Ineos, we know Geraint Thomas is going into a management position following this season. Within organizations, sometimes you do want to have someone move into management who's a legacy person in the organization, who's a culture carrier. You have to wonder, though, what culture is Geraint Thomas carrying into this organization at this moment in time when it actually needs to radically disrupt the path that it's been on if it wants to get back on a Tour de France winning trajectory?
I could go both ways on this, where you could be like, oh, well, you guys are just clinging to the past. You're going to have Geraint Thomas in there being like, back in 2012, we were on nothing but ketones and we won the Tour. But he has actually, I do kind of wonder, because he's in the peloton now and he's seeing firsthand how Ineos' strategy is failing. So you bring him into management. Is that actually a valuable person to have in management? Because then he knows exactly like how these good sounding buzzwords in November can lead to failure in March through September. So I do kind of wonder if he could bring an interesting perspective. Like, we're doing everything wrong. It's terrible. When you're in the race, it's not how you guys are saying it is, and we need to do X, Y, and Z. Like the attack at Liège, they like burned 2 guys on like an attack that was never going to work with like 120K to go. And he's like, yeah, that was not a good idea. Like, that's actually pretty impressive candor from him. I do kind of wonder if that's needed at the team.
I think he's most effective in that provocateur role now. And I think once he's in management, they're actually going to be less likely to listen to him. And I think he'll be less likely to speak up because he'll be jeopardizing his employment given who he's reporting to. I don't believe that management is highly receptive to people not towing the line there currently. That could change, but currently I don't see that probably working.
I also would question, who is he reporting to? You know, that could be changing in the next few months.
He's going to be reporting to Ashton Lambie in the pontoon of a boat. Yeah.
Well, funny you bring that up. I mean, are we even sure Jim Ratcliffe has money? Because like that partnership's done. Like, they basically just cut the sailing team. They stopped paying the All Blacks. They have unpaid invoices with the All Blacks. They just aren't paying anyone anything. And you're like, if a company starts doing that, you just start to get a little concerned if a pile of unpaid invoices they're leaving in their wake.
Plastics aren't what they used to be. And if you're a Grenadier driver in the Whole Foods parking lot in Boulder, you may want to consider how you'll have your vehicle factory serviced in the near future.
I did see one. I went to dinner last night right out in front of the restaurant at Ineos Grenadier. Just warms your heart to see cycling pushing something that will eventually run over every cyclist it comes across.
It's a good-looking vehicle.
It is
I'll give it that.
Vehicle.
It is a damn good-looking vehicle.
Yeah. I do kind of want to move to like the rurals of South Africa and just that's what you drive around, getting into town with that thing. Well, I'll let you go, Andrew, but we will be back post Tour de France. We'll have to. I might have to do another car podcast on the way home, but we'll get it done. And enjoy your day.